right, you ready?
Let's get it, brother.
Ready, three, two, let's go. What is going on, guys? I'm Ian Cod. He's Jiggy Saw. This is my COD Bookie, first YouTube video, and we're doing Modern Warfare 2 Major 1 Best Bets Week 1 online qualifiers. CDL just about to start. Let's get right into it. James, you excited?
Let's get into it, bro. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Let's go. So, on my COD Bookie, we're going to be going through the matches every single week, talking about all the best bets for each match, what we think is going to happen, and then wrapping it up with a parlay at the end. So, starting it off, match 1, we got Atlanta FaZe versus Boston Breach. Breach scrim's been going good. Atlanta FaZe coming off the Champs L. Addition of Big Wake to Breach and Zinni this year. Man, Modern Warfare 2, I think Zinni's going to be in his bag. Slow paced game. We got Boston Breach plus 1.5 at minus 115. Atlanta FaZe minus 1.5 at minus 115. I'm going Boston Breach here on the spread. I think Zinni and Nero and Big Wake and Vivid, I think they're going to get it done. I think they win outright, but just in case they don't, I'm going Boston Breach on the spread.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. I think I'm gonna take the spread on Breach as well. I mean, you said everything perfect. I mean, man, I remember first day that people were starting to do scrims, teams were doing their first pro scrims, and I was watching Nero just go in.
He's a
And
dog.
it seems like, yeah, he is a dog, and it seems like he's just not slowing down, and it seems like he's got a lot of help to back it up too. And I mean, I think I'm gonna have to take the spread on Breach too.
Exactly. I think they pulled a search. I think that's going to be the big one there. Moving on to the next match, we got Optic versus Minnesota Rocker. Optic's first match since last year, coming off slightly disappointing year, but go ahead, take it away, James.
I think that for this one, I think I'm gonna have to go with Optic. Not only are they a disgusting team, but they had too disappointing of a year last year. Ender's injury, Pro Loot being off and on all season, them sprinkling in Jordan every once in a while. So they really didn't have a chance to actually run it up since their huge win at Major 1. Um, and because of this comeback story, I think I'm just going to have to take Optic on a straight up money line win. I just think they're too unstoppable. They've got a lot to prove. They've got a great team. They've got great coaching behind them. I think that with those three things alone, there's no chance that they end up not winning this game.
Yeah, I don't know what to think of this game, to be honest. Rocker's got some good new additions. I'm really excited to see how they can do this year. I think those additions, especially with the likes of Bance and then bringing in Afro too, I think playing around attach, that team's actually going to be really good. But I have no clue what to think of this game. So I'm not going to have a play on this game. Up and down year for Optic last year. Hoping we can end on a high with Scumps last year. But, I have no clue what to think of this, so I'm not going to take any plays on this.
You got to think the old man's going to show out, right?
You got to
You got
think.
to think he has to.
No, you
He
can't.
either is or he isn't gonna, and there's no way he goes down without at least swinging a few times.
You can't bet against Scump. I will not bet against Scump. So going on to the next game, we got Legion, newly located to Vegas, taking on the reigning champs in the LA Thieves. LA Thieves coming off an all-time high, had a kind of like disappointing year and like during the actual season, and a lot of talk about roster changes. Never made a change, switched up some roles, but then came into champs, won champs in LA. I was there. It was crazy, and so I'm expecting LAT to have another good year, but honestly, I think they're gonna have a slow start. I think Legion, while they might not have a good start as well, I think will come into their own later in the year. Recently in scrims, they've been getting hammered. So, at least the scrims I've seen. So, not too confident on the Legion in this one. But I do think, again, I think Legion have made some positive changes. My big if with Legion is Tej. I'm not a big Tej fan. I hope
Just
that
a
Clay,
hater.
yeah, I am a hater. I hope that Clay can kind of whip them into shape. But Temp, Clay, I think those guys are good. I think Prolude's going to really add a lot to the Surge game. But in this one, I got LA Thieves on the spread. I think really just when it comes to the actual juice on this, I think the Thieves on the spread is probably the best bet to go with. So that's what I'm rocking with.
Yeah, I mean, and to add to that point with thieves, just slapping people around in their scrims and, Legion not really putting up much of a fight. I mean, I saw a hard point on, I think it was on Fortress, where they literally got smoked. Thieves ended up like 250 to like 140ing Legion. There was no chance. There was no pace. There was nothing out of Legion, and it was just dominant by Thieves. I think, like you said, Thieves is coming off a big champs win. They have to win to prove here that last year wasn't just some fluke.
Exactly.
They know they've got to perform, so they will. I mean, they performed under the most amount of pressure, having, a mediocre season last year and then going and winning champs when nobody expected it. I think there's no chance that they don't come in here and take this easily. So I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on taking the Thieves on the spread for this one.
Yeah, I like that. Don't sleep on Legion though. I think they will eventually have a decent year this year. So we'll see about that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you can't sleep on Clay. You can't sleep on Donnie. I mean, these two people alone are good enough to carry the weight of the team, and then you add these other two studs that are on this team, like Prolute and Tej. Like
Yeah.
they just need a little bit of coaching. I think they need a little bit of, you know, balance between being a vet and being, newer to the game, and putting the egos aside and just, working and getting the chemistry.
Yeah, he tossed Clay to the Wolves and he said he'd come back leading the pack. So we'll see how that goes. So moving on to the next one, let you take lead on this one. We got Los Angeles Gorillas, new roster going up against the same old roster from last year of Seattle Surge.
With this one, you've got Alec, who has everything to prove this year. Going from being on phase for so long, for years, and being just a dominant force on that team, being, you know, every tournament, who are you seeing in grand finals? You're seeing faves. Whether they win or lose, they're there every time. So with them getting rid of Alec and keeping the tiny terrors and adding Slasher, they're really seeing if they can make something work. With that being said, Alex got so much fire under his ass. I
Yep.
guarantee he comes out completely swinging this year, and he's got not only Spart, who in his first major comes in on a fucking emergency swap and is coming in and winning tournaments.
Yeah, that was
You've also
wild.
got Hook. Yeah, you've also got Hook as a seasoned vet, and you've got Neptune. So you've got a healthy mix of vets and rookies on this team. I think that, you may see them start a little slow, but I think same thing with Legion. I think that you're going to see Alec and Hook really take Neptune and Spart under their wing, and you're going to see them really take off, if not right away, sometime later on in the season. With that being said, I think this game is way too close for me to really pick on anything because Surge is disgusting. You've got accuracy, you've got Mac, Pred, Sib, same roster as last year, and these guys are phenomenal. They're a phenomenal team together, and I like that they're running it up again
Hmm.
this year. And I just do not feel confident enough to say anything because I think that Surge is looking like they have potential to be a top four team. But I also think that Alec is going to be popping off this series. So
Yeah. So Alec is my whole focus for this. I think that was the biggest offseason pickup. I mean, obviously, phase drop Alec and pick up Slasher, but I think picking up Alec is the biggest pickup of probably the entire season. People probably argue like Awakening as well, but Alec is my man to watch this year. Surge coming off that hot year, third at champs, Pred rookie of the year. There's no doubting Pred right now. I think everybody is on board the Pred train on he's the real deal. But
he's a shooter.
I'm going upset alert here. LAG
Oh,
money line win, and I think Alec takes over. I honestly think the subs of LAG are going to match up pretty well against the Seattle Surge subs. I mean, I think Pred's going to be in their face, but I think the LAG subs can hold their own. Neptune is kind of like he plays kind of the same way. Like he's all over the place, all over the map. So I think Alec will be able to organize that along with Spart too, and then I think Spart adds that S&D element that Seattle Surge are gonna have like they'll have a good grip on it with them being the same roster from last year. But I think this is my upset of probably the weekend is LAG coming out and stunning Seattle Surge. So
I like it.
I'm gonna take
It's a bold
LAG.
one, but I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah. So that's where I'm sitting here. Moving on to the next one, we got Rocker versus Ultra. So Ultra, having had the same roster for a couple years, decided to shake it up. Um, Over the off season, they drop Bance, Cammy, and they pick up Scrappy and Standy. Scrappy has a big statement to make um, coming into the league. He's one of those players that talks a lot of trash, gets himself into situations, especially in the challenger scene, where he was always at the forefront of that trash talk, of that talk going between the teams. And so I think this comes down to a game five, round 11, and Scrappy makes that statement and I'm going to take the over here. Actually, I'm taking the over at 4.5 at plus 150. I think Rocker's first match versus Optic will tell all. So I think we're going to get a good feel for Rocker in that match, and we'll get a better feel for this. But having no information on that, I'm running with the Ultra. I think Scrappy gets it done round 11, and I'm taking the over here.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one, Ian, because like you said,
Too smart.
Scrappy's gonna be making statements. I mean, everybody at this point has seen the videos of him at LAN, just completely screaming at everybody, not
Yeah.
giving a shit about anything.
I was
He's
there
a
in that
savage.
challengers match when they
Yeah,
lost.
like
Yeah, that
he's
was
a
crazy.
savage. And, he's not the most quiet kid on the block, so he's going to be gunning for Rocker's throat.
Mm-hmm.
And, I can't wait to see him on main stage soon. I think he's going to be very interesting to watch. He's going to be very fun to watch. And he's got one of the best gunnies to back all this shit talk up. I love it. I love all of it. So, with that being said, I think I'm going to take the over on this one as well.
I like it. I like it. Rolling into the next one, I'll let you take this one. NYSL versus London Royal Ravens. What you think?
When, t- when talking about these two teams, man, you know, it goes without being said that London is a very middle of the pack team, but they've got some great players on this team. You got Paul, who from the start, I've been watching and keeping tabs on Paul since he was in Challengers. I've been singing the praises of him for so long, and I want to see him just have a win. Paul's going to have a bit of a fire under his ass after the ways things ended last year with New York. And this reunion, it's going to have a lot riding on it. So Paul's going to have to put up or shut up. And in my opinion, watching him go up through the challengers scene, I've been preaching about how good he is, so he better not let
Paul's
me down
gross.
on this one. He better not let me down. So with that being said, I'm taking the money line on London for this one. How
All
about
right.
you, Ian?
Yeah, yeah. I think both teams last year, I mean, they squeaked into champs, but I think both teams are coming off disappointing years for their standard. I mean, going all the way back to, Modern Warfare when Ravens got third or whatever. I'm pretty sure it was third. And then dropped their like whole roster.
Mhm.
Um, I think both of these teams should, like, theoretically with their organizations do well, but have struggled recently. Um, so I'm really looking to see which organization is ready to step up. For me in this match, it's all about Paul versus Hydra. In the off season, there was a lot of beef there, just with kind of how things ended with New York subliners. So that's kind of what I'm going to be paying attention to. I think the match could go either way, and I think where it's going to be decided is the subs. I think NYSL subs are better than London Royal Ravens subs. I think when you match them up and you got Hydra and Kismet going up against Asim and then Nasty, um, I think when it comes to those subs, I think NYSL is kind of going to be all over them. So I'm taking NYSL on the spread here at minus 1.5 and then plus 115. So we'll see. Again, I think this could kind of go either way, but that's going to be my play here. I feel confident with it, so that's what I'm gonna roll with.
I think it's a toss up too, man. I think it is. It could go anyway, but I don't know, man. I just see London on this one. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see.
We'll see. We'll just have to watch and see. So going on to the next, we got Seattle Surge and Boston Breach. I think this is a great matchup, gun v gun. Pred versus Nero, Mac versus Vivid, Sib versus Wake, accuracy versus methods. What I'm looking at here when I'm looking at the bets though, there are crazy prices on this. Minus 450, plus 300. Like, what the fuck is this? We haven't been looking at any of this in any of the other matches. So I got no clue what's going on here. I don't like it. Keep me away from it. I'm not playing this. Um, and we'll see what happens the next time they meet up. It's gonna be a good match. I think it's gonna be a really good match, but I got no play on it.
With that point of it being a good match, I think both of these teams are fucking disgusting, man. I think they are gross. And with Seattle keeping the same roster as last year and a third place finish, they've got a bit of a sour taste in their mouth. So I expect them to come out flying. When talking about Boston, on the other hand, Zinni is just so fucking good. He is too fucking good to count out. Big Wake is going to be putting Sib on skates for rotations. You've got Nero, who is going to just be bodying like he always does. And Vivid is going to be in Seattle's face all series long. With all that being said, though, to your point, it's going to be a close one. It's a toss up, but I think I'm going to take the over on this match. I think this one is going to go the distance. I don't know which way it's going to swing, but I just think this is going to be too close for it not to go game 5.
I like that play. I think it definitely goes the distance too. Um, I just anything could happen in this one, but I do agree with you. I think Nero has been the standout so far. Like watching streams so far this year, that dude looks gross.
He's
Um,
disgusting.
so I think he's gonna have a really good year. So we'll go on to the next one, which is Mutineers versus Legion.
You
And
know, I think Ian, I think I'm gonna take a backseat on this one. And because to be honest, I have no idea how this one's gonna turn out. I think that I want to hear what you have to say about this one.
all right, so this right here, Battle of the Bozos. All right,
Yes.
some teams utilize organized chaos. This will be just chaos. All right. Ain't no organized chaos in here at all. It's just absolute chaos. I think both teams are going to be really disorganized going into the year. We haven't talked much about Florida at all, but you got Brock, Havoc, Major Maniac, and Vikel coming in. Um, I just think that's not going to be that great of a team. I think they could be good in search, but when it comes to respawn, I think they're going to get dusted by most teams. But when you look at the opposite side and you have this new Vegas Legion team, I think they're not really going to be on the same page. You saw how it started off last year with Clay at New York. Didn't really go very well. I know he had Krim there, and it was kind of a different situation, but I think it's going to be pretty similar. Get me as far away from this one as possible. I'm not playing this one. And
I will say this though, Ian. Florida, in my opinion, is going to be a very strong S&D team. Yeah,
yeah, I
like
agree.
there's no doubting that they are going to be a strong S&D team. Major Maniac is one of the big brains when it comes to search, and throughout the past couple of years, Brack has really been hitting his stride and dominating the S&D scene as well.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I do agree though. I'm not playing this because get me the hell out.
yeah, yeah. You
But I do want to see how this Florida team turns out when it comes to their search and destroys because search ends up winning you championships at the end of the day. And I feel very confident in how they're looking preseason, when it comes to their searches. So I'm interested to see it.
yeah, yeah. I think it's going to be a pretty straightforward match. It's going to be pretty boring. Don't expect any razzle dazzle here. So we'll skip over that one. And then going on to the next one, we got Los Angeles Gorillas, London Royal Ravens. I'll let you take this one, James.
I think I'm just gonna take Gorillas on the money line here. And because I know I was just singing the praises of Paul, I know that. But I'm very interested to see how Alec works with Hook, Spart, and Neptune. One of the things for sure is that, like I was saying, they're a healthy split between seasoned vets and new kids on the block. Spart, having found his success, is going to be playing a huge role in this, and I really I really don't see it going any other way than Gorillas winning this one. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree. I got LAG moneyline win as well. I'm worried about the Ravens pacing with this team. Last year we saw Asim before he got dropped just taking off on maps, like especially Berlin hardpoint. Like he would always be way out in front of his team. He would die. They'd spawn out. Then they'd have to rotate again. I think that could be a big problem. I think Asim is a great player. Okay, like I think he's a really good player. But if he does get caught playing too fast and his team can't keep up, that's where I think they're going to have the most issues. So they really need to have good communication between Nasty and Paul, going all the way back to Zero. Because if Zero's sitting back and the whole team's pushing up, that can also cause problems. But again, here I think LAG is the better team. I got LAG on the money line win, so I'm sticking with that one as well. Going into the next match, Optic versus Florida. Um, we don't really have to talk about this one too much. I think Optic is going to be it was going to be way too much for this new Mutineers roster. I just have no confidence in this Florida team. I got to see them play first, but going up against a team that is coming back, full roster, Scumps last year, Dashy's gross, Illy's going to have him on point on S&D, and then going and Shotzi's just going to turn up. Like, I don't know, man. I just think it's going to be an easy 3-0. I got Optic spread here, because I don't know. I'm not going to take the win with that, with those points, but I will go with the spread here. I think it's going to be an easy 3-0 slappa. And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with the optic on the spread here. I mean, it goes without saying who I'm gonna pick it for,
Yeah,
so I mean, there's not much to be said. Like, how can you count Optics roster out, especially on this Florida Mutineers team? There's just no way. It's too new of a team, and I'm excited to see how they do against this seasoned team that is sticking together for another year that didn't have much of a chance last year. Um, but I mean, I'm gonna have to go with the spread on Optic here. It goes without saying who everybody should be going for on this
completely
one.
agree. Completely agree. Going on to the next, LAT versus Atlanta FaZe. Rematch of Champs Finals. Take it away, James. I want to hear your thoughts.
I'm gonna have to go with my gut feeling on this one. And as much as I hate to say it, I'm gonna have to go with FaZe on the spread. I I, I know I said the Thieves have a lot to prove, but I think FaZe is going to just be, for lack of better words, too horny to lose. I mean, they've got a chance. uh, you know, they've got a chance here. Their second match of the season to prove that last year was just a fluke. And they, after this win, they will still be keeping their title as the GOATs. I know this isn't on land, but this is huge for FaZe. If FaZe wins this one, they prove that last year was a fluke and that they're still hungry and that Slasher is that missing, piece to the puzzle. I think that FaZe is going to be hungry for this win. I think there's no chance, with the addition of Slasher. I think um, this will really be the driving force behind FaZe winning these grand finals that they always find themselves in. I really do. How about you?
Great minds think alike. I got FaZe on the spread as well. Same thing here, pretty much. I think FaZe get their revenge, and my first thing to think about with new games is who will be ahead in game knowledge. I trust Cell to be that guy. If there is anyone in the CDL that's gonna have more nade spots, more nerdy S&D ratty spots, knowing different sorts of like nerdy areas to play on hardpoint and control too, which they haven't played much of. You know, I trust Cell to be that guy to know all that stuff and just be ahead in that knowledge gap that always happens at the beginnings of games where teams have to catch up. And you'll see teams throughout the year, like everybody will spread out and you'll have your clear cut first, second, third, fourth teams, and then you'll have your middle pack, and then you'll have the people at the bottom. At the beginning of the year, it's always who knows more than the other teams. I trust Cell to be that guy, and I trust Slasher to organize this team and execute, just like you were saying, and cut out those second places and start getting more first place finishes again. So again, I got the FaZe spread, and again, great minds think alike. I think we're on the same page for this one. So,
Absolutely. I mean, you'd be stupid not to go with FaZe here, man. You would.
exactly. Going into the last match of the weekend, we got Toronto Ultra and New York Subliners. Um, I'm going to start off with Skies on New York Subliners. Skies, in my opinion, is the most underrated AR in the league for a long time. I know people, say he's good, but people are always talking about different ARs, talking about Cell, talking about Dashy, even Slasher getting picked up with FaZe. Skies, in my opinion, has flown under the radar, and we got to give that dude his flowers. He is so good. I think he has been so good from Vanguard, going back to Modern Warfare, Cold War. He was really good too. So Skies is my man to watch here. And when it comes to this matchup, I think the subs are pretty even here, and so I think it's going to be all dependent on the ARs. Skies and Priesta for me outperform Scrappy and Insight. I got MYSL on the money line win. This is my pick, and I just think that New York is going to win this game just purely on that AR play. I think Skies is really going to kind of put Scrappy in his place this game. Again, I don't think New York Subliners with the names on that team are like a FaZe or are like an Optic, and even with Surge the year that they had last year. So I don't know if Ultra is going to come out firing like they would against a team like that. I think they're going to kind of underrate Subliners a little bit and expect Skies to take over. Again, New York Subliners moneyline win. That's what I got. What about you?
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on it just a little bit. I think I'm gonna have to go with Toronto on the spread. My reasoning behind it is I think Standy looks really good on this game. I think Scrappy is gonna be so full of adrenaline after he hopefully wins his first pro league match. And there's no stopping this kid when he fucking takes off. He's like the Energizer Bunny. There's no stopping him. There's no turning him off. And I think we're gonna see New York potentially go through the motions early in the year because Toronto is going to break this team down. I think you are going to see Scrappy completely demolish people. He doesn't have the ability to shit talk people because they're not on land. Betty starts shooting bodies. Betty's screaming at his screen the entire game. I just don't see how this Ultra team loses this. I really do not see that. So because of that, I'm going to have to take Toronto on the spread.
Like it. I think those are all good reasons, and I guess we'll just see when they play.
I'm
So,
basing this one all off momentum. I really am.
for
If they
sure.
lose their first match, I'm fucked. I'm changing my bet. But when that happens, this is going to hit.
And I'm looking forward to those scrappy post-match interviews. Those are going to be
Absolutely.
classic. He's going to get fined out the ass. It's going to be entertaining as hell. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, well, that concludes all the matches. Now we're going to move on to our week one $5 parlays. You got my parlay up there. You got James's parlay up there. I'll walk you through mine real quick and then I'll let you walk James, or I'll let James walk you through his. So when we do these $5 parlays, we're picking mostly from the bets that we've already gone over, and kind of matching them up on what we think is most likely going to happen and then what is going to capitalize most on the payout. So, again, $5 parlays with what we feel like can happen and tied in with a couple upsets. I got Los Angeles Thieves on the spread versus the Legion. Then I got the over on Rocker versus Ultra. Then going to the New York Subliners, again, I got the spread on them versus the Royal Ravens. And going to the Gorillas, that's kind of like my big upset one. I got them plus 180 money line win versus Seattle Surge.
I really like my pick from earlier with Boston on the spread, so I'm going to go with that one. Um, LA Thieves, I'm going to also be taking the spread on them against Legion. I just think there's no chance this goes any more than a quick little cleanup for the Thieves. I'm going to be taking the over on the Gorillas Surge map. Um, when it comes to Texas, Florida, goes without saying what I'm doing on this one. I'm going with the spread. Sorry, Florida. I don't think you stand a chance. And Toronto versus New York, I am just going to be taking the money line on that Toronto win because I think that game is going to be very interesting, but I'm not confident enough to really throw down the spread on it. So I'm going to go with the money line win on that one.
There we go. That wraps up our week one $5 parlays. Again, these are just $5 parlays from Bovada. So if you would like to make the same bet, go over there, take our parlay, make your own, share it in the comments. Like to see what you all think.
Yeah, let us know. Let
Let
us
us
know how
know.
you do. I mean, we'll let you know how we do.
Exactly. We are going to be keeping tabs going forward on all of our records for each week. So all these bets, the phase spread, the new NYSL win, all this stuff, even our parlays, we'll be keeping tabs on what we hit and what we don't, and be bringing those odds to you all every week. That way you all can keep up with how we're doing. Keep up with yourself too. Keep track of it on the side, and again in the comments, make sure to let us know your parlays or just any bets that you have in general that you'd like to share with us. We'd love to see that and
Yeah,
comment
show us
back
the
on that.
analytics.
So that's going to be all for us for this first video. Again, super excited. MyCOD Bookie first video. Add our socials. I got them right here on the video. And then follow us on Twitter again at MyCOD Bookie. You're going to get updates on video drops and more bets that we may have that we may see. Odds do change. So before and during matches, we may be making live bets. So tune in there. And thanks for watching, guys. It's our first video again. Super excited to be doing this going forward. I appreciate you, James. I'm Ian Cod.
Appreciate you, brother.
That is Jiggy Saw. And that is our first video. Peace.
Peace.